All right. Hey, everyone. It's Jakub, founder of JWA, and I'm absolutely privileged to have today's Power Talk with an amazing, amazing rock star by the name of Tamara Burrell. And Tamara's been a little bit of an intro for me because she's got such an amazing story that I really wanted to make sure we get this right, because I'm not even going to cover like 2% of her journey so far, but just this will give you a small understanding of the type of person that we've got with us today, the amazing journey that she's been on, and she's going to be so open and vulnerable with us today, and share some of that story to pass on a message, I guess, to hopefully connect with yourself or somebody that you may know that might need some further assistance. So Tamara began her career ultimately as a school teacher. So for those of you who know most school teachers, they're very loving and caring and have got a lot of patience, and Tamara definitely fits that character. Went down the journey of becoming a mother with two beautiful sons who are just amazing men, under her impeccable guidance. And things from what Tamara specifically would say were going really, really well in life. If you sort of probably would have met Tamara back in those times, she would have said, hey, everything's just going absolutely fantastic, until it all ended up feeling like it just came a little bit unstuck. Money, the cars, the travel was all there. And Tamara realized that from there she went on this 10-year journey in search of happiness, which I think is absolutely epic, because that ultimately is really so much of what life is all about. And she's climbed mountains and cascaded, crossed crocodile infested waters, visited gurus, did the silent retreats, yoga retreats, did it all, meditated on mountaintops. It was epic. She's really pushed herself to the limits of finding out what is this thing that we call happiness. And along that journey, she's gone and got some amazing qualifications as a life coach and NLP practitioner. And for those of you who know anything in that space, that is a phenomenal and very, very powerful mix when you especially combine that with life experience as Tamara's got. And her passion, she went into business and was very, very successful. It's one of the top Boost Juice store owners, and decided to have not one but two, because that's just what you do when you're a rock star. And now she's solely focusing on empowering women and working with amazing women to show them that they can experience the life they want, and not only from a materialistic, which is still cool to have, and we're going to discuss that today, and also more important, to feel an absolute level of fulfillment, self-love, self-acceptance, and self-belief. We're very, very lucky. She's also a published author, an Amazon best-selling published author by that, and it's called I'm going to let Tamara plug that book in a moment. She's going to tell you where you can pick it up, and I highly recommend it. It is a really raw read, and I think you're going to connect with it, because like Tamara's really put herself out in that book. So after that awesome and epic introduction, welcome Tamara. How are you?
Thank you, Jacob. Yes, very awesome, epic introduction.
Yeah, well, it deserves
I like myself after listening to that.
You deserve it. You deserve it. We've spent a lot of time together chatting, and it's an absolute privilege to have you to share this with our audience who, as you know, have gone through, their own challenges, as so many of us have in our life, especially when we experience trauma. It can ultimately touch on somebody for really such a majority of their life. It's not something that you just walk away from, and it doesn't change you as a human. So thank you so much for making the time for us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So first of all, let's talk about your book, and tell us a little bit about where can our awesome readers find it and download it, and tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write it.
I called it The Fat, Ugly, Beautiful Truth. And at the time of writing it, I had my Boost Juice stores. And I was really curious. I was going through my own stuff, as you know, and I was on a little bit of a journey to find this happiness. So I decided that I'd write a book, and the book was going to be about lots of different people and their stories. And I sat down and interviewed some absolutely phenomenal women who'd been through all sorts of different things from all walks of life. And as I did it, I kept experiencing these amazing moments of, oh yeah, me too. And I realised that there were so many of us out there experiencing so much of the same, that I decided that I had to write my story. It wasn't my place to write their stories. I had to be vulnerable and share me, and it was almost like giving other people permission to know that we're not perfect. We've all got the same sort of stuff going on. It just comes in different shapes and different forms.
Such a great message, and so true. This idealism that society's pinpointed us on what perfection is, both externally, materialistically, how we're supposed to look and dress and behave in certain areas. It's so much pressure and so unrealistic.
Oh, the should be's. We're just covered with should be's. Should be this, should be
Yeah.
that, should have this, should do that, should look like this, should be this size, should be that size. It's huge.
Yeah.
Huge pressure from society, especially I think for women. The percentage or the statistics are 97% of women or females are not happy with the way they look. That's huge.
It's phenomenal. And that is an epidemic.
Absolutely. And particularly with Facebook too, we're bombarded by thousands upon thousands of images daily as to how we're supposed to look and how we're supposed to be.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I said, so where can we find it? Because it sounds awesome. I don't know. I've definitely. Yeah.
You can find it on Amazon.com and it's 99 cents, Jacob, to download on Kindle. 99 cents. And it's a really quick read. It takes a couple of hours, not much. And it's like having, I wanted it to be like having a coffee with a girlfriend, and I sometimes say maybe even more wine because I've shared just a little too much or been a little bit too raw and a little bit too honest.
No,
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
a coffee and a wine with a friend.
Nice. I like that. So we're going to talk today about a little bit about, I think one of the topics when you and I sort of said, how can we give our listeners and viewers the most value in this time that we're going to spend together? And one of the things I know you're extremely passionate about is helping your clients, because as I said before, Tamara is a coach and she's got her own amazing clients that she works with, is self-love.
Yeah. So the reason I went down the pathway of self-love is because it was the place where I felt most challenged. And I was at Boost Juice, and the problems that the girls were coming to work with, the young girls, the body image with eating disorders, depression, anxiety at such a young age. And I was really determined to help these girls believe in themselves, to back themselves, to have this beautiful confidence and to love themselves. And yet I'd be going home almost having the same problems that these girls were having. I'd be looking at myself in the mirror, doubting myself. I had the same sort of fears, the same sort of insecurities.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was trying to help people with something that I needed help with myself. And so that's what made me go off on my long quest for love, for happiness. And as you know, I came from quite a privileged background, really. I lived in a beautiful 2-story home by the ocean, drove around in beautiful cars, had a beautiful wardrobe, money. We had the amazing overseas holidays, and we lost a lot of that in a stock market crash and ended up, the husband had an affair and all sorts of things went wrong, and we ended up moving the house, and it was like all the things that I've been able to hide behind that made me feel successful or made me feel good enough or like I belonged, they were gone, completely gone.
Yeah.
And then I was left with myself and really facing who I was, and I was miserable, absolutely miserable. I mean, I was on antidepressants. I was a mess.
Yeah. And isn't it interesting because we said, we hear the cliche so often around, money can't buy us happiness. And yet when it's right there in front of us, we take it and it gives us that immediate sensation of, happiness, inverted commas. But, because we get so into that groove, we don't spend the time often to really look internally. And it's not to say that we can't have those materialistic things in our life and, one doesn't equal the other. But if we don't have that internal self-love first, then how can you truly appreciate what you've got externally? And we don't want to be identified by like, well, if I don't have the cars, the clothes, the holidays, whatever, I can't feel fulfilled and happy.
Yeah, it's interesting. You make a couple of really good points, like the external, the cars, the clothes, the house, the appearing happy with all these material things. When they get taken away, if we haven't got this internal place of happiness, it's like the happiness is gone because we were relying upon it from outside of ourselves. So the material things make us happy almost short term. It's like buying a new dress. It's really exciting wearing it, and after a little while we're ready for the new one. It's like a new car. They reckon we get a few months out of a new car of a really good feeling, or even our house, everything. We get used to it after a little while. It lasts, the excitement of it lasts for a little while, but then we're looking for something else to fulfill us. If it's coming from outside, we can't sustain it with things external to us, the material world. Yeah, they're fun and they're nice, but it really does need to come from within. And that's a tough journey. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
We spend time, it's written all over Facebook. Happiness comes from within. Choose to be happy. It's like, yeah, well, how?
Yeah, that's right.
How?
Well, we're going to get into that a little bit later. We're going to definitely share with our audience and some of our really amazing people, because I know they're going to be sitting there going, this is so much of what I'm currently experiencing, and what is it that I need to take place? Because I read all the posts and I get all inspired, but what are the actual steps? And I know you've got some really great things for us to do. So we're going to get to that in just a little while. One of the things that I sort of had on question, because I mean, there is the one side, Tamara, like what you experienced, where you had the what I call the higher lifestyle, you know, with all of the monetary value. But I know for myself, and I guess a lot of listeners, we may not have had that yet. We still had some form of those, what I call the happiness addiction. So whether it's food, alcohol, clothes, you know, going out, whatever it's going to be. I guess one of the questions I had then, because I know it's not based on gender or socioeconomic status, it's not based on where you grew up or anything like that. So many of us struggle with that term and the feeling, the sensation of deep self-love and deep self-gratitude for who we are and what we bring to the table every single day. One of the things that popped into my mind was, I guess, you know, we say as humans, we're born whole and complete, which I totally believe. Yeah. So you see a little baby and they don't have the faculties to understand judgment and all those other things that we experience as we get older in life. So what happens, or what's your experience, that where does the lack of self-love start from, and what are some of the things, the main trigger points that can happen to us?
Oh, yeah. You see these little girls just so full of joy and so full of happiness, and they have no idea that they may not be good enough or that they may not fit in. And we go to school or we go to kindy and we start getting out there in the world, and we discover these comparisons and that we need to be better, especially school. You know, there's a right way to be and there's a wrong way to be. There's a pass and there's a fail. You can win or you can lose, or their picture's better, or they've just guessed the amount of jelly beans in the jar and they win. And there's always seems to be this right way of being and this better way of being, and we learn it from such a young age. And another thing, even just as a school teacher myself and as a mother and parent, we can often pour so much into our kids, and we're driven and we're motivated by the best of intentions, but we're not teaching our little ones or our kids how to fill themselves with love. And so it's like I actually wrote a book on that. I wrote another book, Jakub.
What you did.
It was all around that analogy of the cup, and it's this cup that gets emptied by the comparisons, by not being good enough, by getting it wrong, by the fail, and learning ourselves how to fill it back up. Because when we don't know how to do it ourselves, we're relying on people outside of ourselves. We're relying on other people to do it for us, and we don't have the resources within to do it. And this from such a young age. And not only that, there's things that happen to us through our childhood that can actually just rip that out and completely deplete it. And where do we begin to start filling that again? Where do we begin the journey on learning to love and filling ourselves back again?
Yeah. It's so true. Look, I think there's so much of it's a society thing, because we live in this, you know, magazine, this news, this drama, this competitive lifestyle. As you said, it's always about being better, faster, prettier, you know, whatever society's wanting to push on us. And I think even if we go back from there, the challenge I see here is it's generational, because you see, if a mother doesn't fully comprehend what self-love is or how to experience self-love within, although the word she can express is to the little one growing up, it's all around self-love. Kids are so damn intuitive, you know, they pick up on the difference between what's being said to them and what they're actually experiencing. And so I see this epidemic of, you know, people wanting the change logically, but if they don't invest in themselves and they don't go find what that really is at the core, which as we know can be challenging, right? Like when you really go into it and say, wow, I don't love myself. What does that really mean? It's like, then, you know, how do we then pass that on to the generation below us?
Yeah, that's such a great point, Jacob. You know, when I was at my lowest point, I was so broken and I went to see a spiritual healer, Rishi. He was an Indian guy, beautiful man. And I was desperate. I didn't know what to do. And when I sat across from him, I cried and cried. And I had snot. It was tears and snot. And he said to me at the time, because I thought I was broken, and he said to me that I had to go and learn how to love myself,
Yeah.
and that I could only ever be loved as deeply as I loved myself, and I could only ever love as much as I loved myself.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, and my thing was, as a mother, I love my boys more than I love myself. And he said to me, you can't. You don't know how to give the love that you cannot give to yourself. You have to know how to give it to yourself to be able to give it to another. It was such a huge moment for me.
How did you feel hearing that? Because I know how much you give to your boys and how much you pride yourself as being a mum. What did that?
I was devastated.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing too is, at the time, my boys were teenagers. And I went home and I was actually talking to my boys about it. I can't remember how the conversation came up, but we were talking about our values. And my boys, I told them that I valued honesty and openness and love or whatever. And my son, I think he might have been 14, 15 at the time, just said to me, you know what, Mum, you're so full of shit. I was just devastated. I was just like, so there was so much going on. And I just had that realization that I do need to learn how to love myself. I've been trying to teach these girls at Boost Juice how to love themselves. And now I had my boys almost questioning it. So yeah, it was an amazing moment, because it was what actually tipped me over the edge and sent me off on my journey to learn how to love myself. Because I just knew if I knew how to love myself, I could be loved and I could love others.
Yeah. Yeah. Kids have an amazing way of doing that, just knocking the wind out of our sails and just calling us on our crap. Totally. Love it.
And you know what the beautiful thing is about kids as well, and what I discovered was that I did go off on my journey, and I did so many different things. Like I saw Lady Diana's spiritual advisor off in Malaysia. I did weird and wonderful, crazy courses. I climbed mountains. I sat in Buddhist temples. I meditated. I went and did a silent retreat. And you know me, Jacob, that was hard not to speak. Whoa.
That's commitment.
I really, really pushed myself really hard. And yeah, so, I forgot where I was going with this.
It's okay.
I love this. So, kids, that's right. Sorry, I was getting all carried away with my big journey. The most amazing thing about our kids is that, you said it before, they have this innate way of feeling. Yeah. We can say one thing, yet they feel it. And when I started to like myself, really like myself, and get a lot more real and become a lot more vulnerable and a lot more open and really just real about who I was, take off the mask and really start to own myself, my relationship with my boys shifted. And it is still to this day, it is an incredibly beautiful, open, honest relationship. It didn't happen straight away, but the shift was slow, and it just happened. So all those years of perhaps not being truly happy with myself, or not really loving myself, all those years of faking it till I make it as a mother, it was almost, once I learnt to like myself, it happened really quickly with my boys. And I think that's a really beautiful thing for any mother who's listening, because that can be our greatest worry and our greatest fear, is that if we feel broken, or if we feel like we're not good enough, or we're not good enough as a mother, we truly learn to like and to accept ourselves and be okay with ourselves. The shift with our kids is phenomenal. It is beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's awesome. I mean, that's just, I know being on the father side of the parent relationship, and I know with my wife, when we talk about it often, it's always about, a lot of the decisions we make and a lot of the behaviors that we're, always very cautious about the words we use around the kids to give them the best opportunity to, have the most positive meanings around what we're experiencing, because they make so much of their initial idea of what the world is in these early stages. And I know the pressure that she feels as a mother. It's like she's got that added responsibility to be this, this ideal figure for the kids. And I try to express in the best way that I possibly can. And I know it would be challenging for her. I can see that in the fight, but I'm just like, babe, be you, because you are fucking awesome. Do you know what I mean? Like, if the kids grow up to be like you, anywhere near you, in that vicinity of you, like, they're just going to be absolutely amazing humans. And I know that rocks her, challenges her, because I guess where I was going with the story was like, we all have, like we said at the start, this is not about perfection, and it's not about, having this super ideal version of this perfect, being that we need to be. But it's not about martyrism, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's about being cool with your flaws and showing your kids, and then simply working on yourself continually, right?
Are we allowed to swear, Jacob?
Fuck yes. My audience is cool. They're cool with this.
Okay, because what I was going to say to you whilst you're speaking, and I'm listening to you speak about your wife, and because, I'm sure I relate, and I'm sure any woman who's a mother listening to this completely relates. We are going to fuck it up. It does not matter how good we are, how perfect we are, we are going to fuck it up. And you know what? It was when I actually owned it with my boys and said, yeah, I fucked it up.
Yep.
That was when the shift started to occur. When I let go of the need to be the best mother, the perfect mother, when I became more real, more raw and real, and more of myself, that was when my boys just looked at me and started to accept me and love me more than. In fact, my son, who's 21, said to me, you know what, Mum? I want to find a girl that I get along with like I do with you and like I do with Brad, his brother. He goes, because then I'll know I've got a great relationship. And let me tell you, I fucked it up.
Yeah.
As a mother, I fucked it up. that's a big message, is we'll never get it right. We just won't. And we all know things happen to us as kids. All these things happen, stuff happens, and we make it mean all these sorts of terrible things about why we're not good enough. Yeah. And why we don't belong, or why we're not worthy of love. All these things happen. It doesn't matter how amazing our parents are. It is going to happen.
So true. It is so true. That is such a great message. If you take nothing away from today, and there's going to be we've already had some epic, I know I have gold nuggets. Be okay with fucking it up as a parent. I mean, that is such a great message. It's got to take such a weight off the world of your shoulders, especially as a mother, right?
Well, I think as a mother, we think often too, we need to know it all.
Yes.
We need to be the one in charge, and we've got you, we listen to me because I know everything. I'm your mum. And it's that moment when we realise that, I mean, let's have a look at the generations, Jacob. I mean, you're younger than me, but when I could never take a phone call while I was watching TV or whatever, or wanting to change a channel, because my phone was attached to the wall by a cord. I couldn't reach the knob to change the channel. I mean, with every generation, we're improving and becoming so much more amazing, our world. So there's so much to be learned from our kids. And I think to value them in that way, our young people, is huge. It's showing them respect and that they're amazing individuals. So there's things for us to learn from them. We don't have to know it all. It's okay when we don't.
Yeah, beautiful message. Such a beautiful message. Yeah, good on you. Tell me a little bit about now, one thing I've been curious always around is then how do we, because the language of the humans, the way that we sort of, we're sort of, I don't know, designed or whatever the way that we are, we're very good at saying how we don't want things. We say things a lot in the negative, right? I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be with this person, all that kind of stuff, right? So a lot of when people talk about themselves, it's kind of like they're very quick, like boom, they could reel off 10, 20, 30 things about what they don't like about themselves. If you could share with our audience, what's your description or definition of what is self-love?
Self-love. You know, it's really easy to like ourselves and to love ourselves when things are easy. It's really easy to love our kids when they're behaving themselves, our partner when he's doing wonderful things, when she's being amazing. It is so easy to love and be okay when things are all rosy. It's okay to love yourself or like yourself if you're having a good hair day, or you fit into those jeans, or whatever it is. It is so hard to love ourselves when things aren't good, or we feel like we're failing, or we've tripped up, or we're not as good as what we should be. So for me, self-love comes from a place of resilience. Self-love comes from a place of when we've failed, when we've tripped over, when we feel shame or whatever it is, that we're able to sit with ourselves. And that may be on the floor. We're able to sit with ourselves. We're able to hold our own hand. We're able to nurture and love ourselves through our moments. For me, that's where self-love is really born. It's not in the good moments.
Yeah.
Self-love is born out of the darkest moments. And one of the reasons I love working with so many of the people I get to work with is because often, you know, they have suffered some sort of trauma or whatever it is. They've visited the dark moments or the saddest moments or the deepest failures. They're the ones, like myself, who've had to dig so deep and really connect to that love and that place of nurturing ourselves and learning to love ourselves back into this beautiful space.
Yeah.
It's resilience.
Thank you. Thank you. I really love that message around that. It's not when, you know, what I call the sun is shining, right? You know, because it's easy then to, you know, as you said, have the feeling or the sensation of, yeah, I'm a good person, I'm a whatever. You probably don't really take too much notice of it. But it's the moment that, you know, you get a challenge, no matter how small or how big it can rock your world. It's about what's the internal dialogue. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, where do you start beating yourself up from? You know, how do you start, you know, do you stop taking care of yourself physically? Do you stop taking care of yourself emotionally? Do you stop doing all the things that, you know, that are really good for you? On a really simplistic basis, like, you know, like hanging out with the right types of people, watching the right types of TV shows, or you know, what are you filling your mind with? Love
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, love that. Okay, cool. Thank you. So what about on the other side? What are some of the things that we can look out for, both from ourselves, so we can have the level of awareness, and maybe, you know, if there are some parents listening or some other people that want to care for their community, what are some really key signs that we can look out for people that are struggling with self-love?
Well, there's the big ones with the anxiety, the depression, the eating disorders, you know, obviously substance abuse or even overeating, like you were just saying, and too much drama on TV, whatever it is, there's those ones. But the other more subtle things, it's that one is that need to get everything right, that there is absolutely a right way of being and a wrong way of being. I think when it comes to right and wrong, it's right to stop at the traffic lights. It's right to stop at a stop sign. We have rules in our society that we need to follow. That is right. Mm-hmm. But as in the way we are being, there is no real right way, and there's no real wrong way. There's just a way that feels better for us. So that right and wrong and rules is a trap for self-love. When we're feeling the need to get it right, we're doing it more for others, to please others. Women in particular, we're all about putting others first and pleasing others a lot of the time. Yep. If we're putting ourselves first, we are not loving ourselves. And it goes back to that. We can only love others as deeply as we love ourselves. When we're busy putting everything before us, people pleasing, another one, even sexually, a lot of women will please their partner without pleasing themselves. Things like that. When we're putting others before ourselves, we are not loving and nurturing ourselves. And we must love ourselves so that we can love others as deeply, once again, as we love others. The past, the fail, the neediness, when we know we need someone's approval. I was huge on that. I needed everyone's approval. I needed the pats on the back. I needed to know I was okay. I needed to know I was good enough. Worrying, another one for me was worrying about what people think. I used to worry about what other people were thinking of me, and their opinions were more important than my opinion. So that's another one, making other people's opinions matter more than our own. Or when we walk into a room, what is everyone thinking? Or when we say something out loud, what's everyone thinking?
Yeah.
That's one as well.
Yeah. It is. And like you said, the list just goes on and on. Like I said, we're so good when it comes to finding the things that are on the negative side. And it's around finding that language of then, as you so purposely, so beautifully put before, all the things that then are self-love? What are all the things that are the flip of all of what we just went through about the negative state? And it's it's incredible how we get so good at playing that victim role, playing that martyr role. And it's all unconscious. It's not like very few of us sit there and go, hey, I want to feel terrible today. It's just we get into that rhythm, that groove of I'm not worthy, therefore this is how I'm supposed to, experience life. So
So, and it's interesting because we have to come to a place of our own, create our own certainty within ourselves. And we hear the faking it till you make it a lot. I hear that a lot. And I think it's hard to fake it till we make it. I think we do actually have to create a sense of certainty within ourselves that we are okay. And, and I think we're going into that in a little bit, aren't we? How we can...
Well, I think we're there now. I kind of think, I think our listeners are probably at this stage kind of going, man, this is definitely there. They're all nodding their heads going, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, so that sense of certainty, this is an interesting one. One thing I do with the women I work with is we find this internal warrior within us, this warrior who's certain, and even with our hand movements, our physiology, the way we stand, and you were talking about it before with our language, using more certain and more positive language, like I am going to do that. Oh, I should. Don't worry about should. Get rid of should. I hate the word should.
Yeah,
scrub it out of the dictionary.
There's no energy behind it whatsoever.
Google, I don't want it. Should. Don't care what we should do. Let's do what we want to do. Let's do what we feel. So certainty, creating certainty through our physiology, our posture, the way we're speaking, even when we breathe, we can just breathe just a little bit more shallow into between our, boobs, and we can create certainty just through our physiology. And another one, and we hear this all the time, and this has been passed down for 2016 years, is gratitude. We'll see gratitude everywhere. And, just in prayer, people were giving thanks. In prayer, gratitude works. People wouldn't be sprouting it all over Facebook and all the spiritual healers and, it wouldn't be all around us. And I know it's one of those things we hear so much of. And gratitude. And I heard Tony Robbins say just recently that, even if you're just grateful for not being a cockroach in that, just something to be grateful for. So everyone talks about gratitude. Another one, and I was talking about the cups and filling cups, random acts of kindness. And it's we go and fill someone else's cup, or we give a little bit of love, or do something kind for someone else. We actually are filling ourselves at the same time. And studies have actually shown that random acts of kindness or giving to others, doing for others, increases serotonin levels. And it increases serotonin levels more in the giver than it does in the taker. Wow. So random acts of kindness. And the big one is the self-talk and the way we speak to ourselves.
Yeah.
Huge. Really, I would say if this is, you were saying one message, but if this is one take from today, is catching ourselves every time we say something that isn't kind and isn't loving. And even if it's speaking to ourselves, particularly for mothers who have young children, daughters, or nieces, or, little girls, thinking about little girls, the way you would speak to a child in that really beautiful, soft, kind voice is the way we would be speaking to ourselves.
Yeah.
And really picking ourselves up on it and stop it.
Yeah.
Do not speak to ourselves in a negative way. It should be in a really kind, beautiful way. Once again, we can only love ourselves, we can only love others as much as we love ourselves, and we can only ever be loved by those around us as much as we love ourselves. So speaking to ourselves in a really beautiful, loving, kind, nurturing way is so important, so important.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So let's break that down for our listeners, and let's make sure we get those steps really clear so they can make some change now. So the first one was how we're going to use, and if I can sum maybe that last point and that first point together, because I think they really come together. I know I picked this up from Tony Robbins, which is the triad. And so he says there are three things that are going to create an emotion. Does that make sense? So we're all talking now about how we want to experience our life. So the first one, as you so perfectly put, is your physiology. How do you want to use your body? And I always like to use the contrast, which is if I said to somebody, be depressed. Does that make sense? Show me what depressed looks like. Everyone goes straight away. Boom, got it. Shoulders slouch, head goes down, facial expression goes down, get the brow and the eyebrow there. And, you know, then I say, great, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking about that time I didn't achieve X, Y, Z. That person left me. That person yelled. Okay, great. Got that. And what's your language? I'm no good. Okay, great. Awesome. You can do that. Totally get it. Now clear that, piss that off. Now it's like, great. Give me, as you said, give me certainty. Give me joy. And people start to go, what's that? And it's like, awesome, let's do this together. So if all these people watching now, as you're watching, let's do this now, right? So we're talking about certainty and fulfillment, yeah? So I'm going to say, how would you use your body if you had total certainty? And the first thing we'd obviously do is we'd be so really up nice and tall, shoulders back, chest up nice and high, head up a little bit elevated. How would you use your facial expressions? Because it's kind of certainty, but you want that warmth and joy to it. Does that make sense? So I often say to people, it's kind of like, you don't want to go to the extreme of having a plaster on your face, like, because that's just fake. And you don't want to be overly serious because you said we want to have certainty, but we want to have some warmth. So it's kind of like, just find that little place of like, I fucking got this. I got this. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, I'm warm. I'm approachable. Yeah. Nice and firm. And I'm approachable, but I've got this. What are you thinking about? So I'm thinking about a time when I had success. Now, it doesn't have to be massive, but it can be just something small. It can be like, I just had like a little win, or I ticked off something off my to-do list, or I nailed whatever it was, this project that I was trying to run. So re-engage with that level of, I can do this. I've got this within me. So that's what you're focusing on. That's the image that I'm creating. And then lastly is that language, which we kind of just said anyway, which is, I've got this. I can do this. I've always fucking had this. Fuck yeah, I'm a great person, whatever it is. So it's that. Now you combine those three, which is that triangle or triad that Tony Robbins talks about, and you can literally experience any emotion that you want within a matter of seconds. And that's not faking until you're making, because that is real. You are experiencing real emotions that you're connecting with that you've already had. So thank you for bringing that up, because I fucking love that. It's so simplistic yet so powerful. So powerful. Cool. So we had that. So one is, sorry, did you want to add something?
I did actually. Yeah. On that one, I actually had a couple of friends that I shared it with, that when I started doing it, that I could do it with and really bring it. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, like really bring it. Because as a female, it's often not something we bring. So I practiced a little over the top, but got into the habit of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Love that. I love that. And have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely, I love that playfulness. And I think the second one you said was gratitude.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so powerful. Like, they say the ultimate antidote to fear and to, self-doubt or anything like that is gratitude. Because when you are in total gratitude, when you're so grateful for the small things, all the big things in life, there's nothing that can enter that bubble that you're in of gratitude. Does that make sense? Like, nothing can rock your world, because when you're filling your body and your heart and your soul with that thanks, like, it's like literally bringing tears to your eyes. Like, whether it's for the fact that my hands can move, the fact that I can talk, the fact that I've got eyes, the fact that I've got a beautiful face, whatever it is that you can find the smallest of detail to be thankful for, and you let that overwhelm your body, that's a gift. That's a gift. So definitely gratitude. That was awesome. And then I think we finished on giving. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. So contribution is fantastic. So as you said, it can be something really small, like just saying to somebody like, hey, just really noticed that, you look amazing today. Thank you for your energy within the office or environment, to something really like big and grand, to, donating or giving something to somebody, or whatever it is that you want to do. But definitely that thoughtfulness of just random acts of kindness is pretty epic. It's pretty epic.
Well, it's proven to increase serotonin levels, the feel-good chemicals in your body.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And I love the fact that you said it actually gives more to the person giving than receiving. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's phenomenon of science. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Would you be able to share, I guess I was just trying to think about how we wrap this up, because I love the tangible now. People have got these three things that they can go away and walk with and implement within their life straight away. Can you maybe share a little bit some of the things when you've worked with your clients, where you've seen the transformation from when they come in and they come start working with you, to then how does it happen when that self-love starts to enter their life? Because it's a journey. It's not a overnight thing. It's something you continually build on.
Self-love is something we'll always be working on, and it's because it really is about the relationship we're having with ourselves. And we sort of touched on it before. It's easy to have a good relationship with ourselves when everything's going really well, harder when things aren't going so well. So it's a relationship, and we have to put time and effort into a relationship. And the thing that I love with working with women like this is exactly that, the relationship they start having with themselves. And that has the spin-off effect to their kids or to their partners or to men coming into their life or to whatever it is. And I've seen some incredible women who have been in, oh golly, some of the, really, really dark places,
Yeah.
become these really beautiful, and I would say they handle their life with this, I'm thinking of one particular client in particular, with real dignity and style, and she's got this really beautiful grace, and she's got this really beautiful quiet confidence, and the way she has turned her life around is just been phenomenal. But yeah, it's the relationship they start having with themselves and how they expect more from others and expect to be treated so much better. It's, beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Tamara, I don't want to end this chat because we could talk all afternoon. But I think this has been a really phenomenal conversation. And I know that our audience is going to really take something away from this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment to helping women experience self-love and a greater quality of lifestyle for themselves and for those around them. Your work is absolutely incredible. Can you just plug your book one more time, please?
It's called The Fat, Ugly, Beautiful Truth by Tamara Burrell, and you can get it and download it on Amazon Kindle.
Beautiful. I'm going to make sure that when we send this video out, we'll have all the right links there to the Amazon link. Plus, we'll have some Tamara's contact details. If you feel you need some work and you've connected with Tamara, she's phenomenal at what she does. She's got real life experience. She'll be more than happy to have a chat with you. Tamara, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jacob.
Okay. Take care, guys. So, guys, there you go. That's our edition of Power Talk. Till next time, please let us know if we can help out. Hit us up on our Facebook page. Shoot us an email. God willing, shoot us a phone call. We're real people here. We love to talk to you and see how we can possibly assist you in whatever past traumas you've suffered. I want you to know there is an answer to resolve that, and that's what we're committed to. So till next time, take care.